Did you hear what Josh D'Amaro said about the reservation system? That it may be here to stay? Does it make you worried? Does it make you scared? Should it? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Bake. Glad you could join us today. Last week, we talked about Orange County coming off the watch list and what that might mean for Disneyland reopening here in California. And in that discussion, we referenced a comment that Josh D'Amaro had made, president of Disney Parks. He had made this comment on the Dow Report. And in Cliff Notes, Disneyland's ready to open. And this had Disney fans abuzz because obviously it confirmed that they wanted to open, that Disneyland was ready and wanted to open. But there was one other comment that may have had Disney fans even more crazy. Josh D'Amaro also said that the Disney Parks Reservation system may be here to stay. Sort of. The headline is catchy, to be sure, but let's unpack the actual statement that he made as well as the context in which it was made. And then we can talk about whether or not this is a good idea for Disneyland or for any park for that matter. Now, by the sounds of the headlines that I was reading and the tweets that were coming across my timeline, it seemed like Josh had maybe been asked specifically about the reservation system, and he had given a specific answer that it may be here to stay. And by the way, if that scares you at all or it makes you uncomfortable, if you're not a fan of the reservation system, stand by because I may be able to calm your nerves just a little bit. First, the context. Josh was asked by the show's host to comment on what technology Disney was developing or using to respond to the current situation and what technology might be here to stay. And Josh mentioned 4 things in total: the reservation system, mobile ordering, the queue reservation system, think Rise of the Resistance, and contactless payment. He then said in response to the host's original question that these are not only good responses to the virus, but they're also technologies that help improve the guest experience and the cast members' experience, and therefore it's very likely that they may be here to stay. In other words, he wasn't asked specifically about the reservation system, and his response wasn't specific to the reservation system. And I think that this is an important distinction. His comments were general in nature, talk show fluff meant to be put into a 7 or 8 minute show to give just sort of a general message to the public about the current state of Disney. It's far different than, let's say, a reporter asking a direct question, something like, "Mr. D'Amaro, the reservation system sucks. Do you think it'll be here for long?" To which he would have responded, "The reservation system is here to stay." That's something to be discussed and alarmed about in that context. And that's probably how it sounded to some, but I prefer to think that he was talking, his response that is, about the technologies in general as a total whole, what technologies they're using to make accommodations for the virus. Mobile ordering, contactless payment, virtual queues, and the reservation system. Now, don't check me. I'm not saying that he didn't say it, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't be difficult to infer that that's what he meant. I'm saying there's room for debate, that it's not a slam dunk. For example, here's a thing that I've noticed when Disney parks are being discussed on a national level, such as in the Dow Report. I've noticed that it's almost always about Walt Disney World. Dow's question and D'Amaro's response could easily be construed as being specifically about Walt Disney World. So I say all of this to give all of you Disneyland fans some comfort, because D'Amaro alluding to the reservation system being here to stay may or may not be the case. And I say all this because I think the reservation system is a terrible idea, at least for single or multi-day ticket holders. Annual pass holders, that may be a different conversation altogether. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense for Disney World. It's a destination. People plan their vacations to Disney World months in advance. They buy their tickets months in advance, and often, usually, with a very specific date range in mind. So it wouldn't be all that crazy to ask them to reserve a date. Now, that's not to say that Disney World doesn't have locals who visit, whenever they feel like it. And that's why I think it's kind of a bad idea, because I would never want to suppress the idea of a guest just deciding that today they'd like to go to Disneyland. It's just spontaneously. That is a thing. You simply cannot take that away from us. Not permanently. You just can't. Yes, under extreme conditions like we're experiencing these past few months, you may have to suppress that a little bit, but with the expectation that it will go back to normal. Now, having said this, I do think that there is a conversation to be had about annual pass holders. And I know right away you're thinking, well, that goes against the very idea of buying an annual pass. So often, many of us buy them with the understanding that, God, this would be really cool. I could just show up whenever I feel like it. That is part and parcel the experience, the cachet of owning an annual pass. But what if they simply stopped selling annual passes that had that, the signature pass here at Disneyland? What if they just stopped selling that? I've been saying for a long while now that the Flex Pass might be the future of annual passes. And obviously the reservation system fits perfectly with the Flex Pass. Not so much with the signature pass, but like I said, if they eliminate that, the Flex Pass becomes the default choice for annual pass holders. And I've also said in the past that I think that if Disneyland had their way, everyone would have a Flex Pass, and that's how everyone would access the park. I don't know that this is really a thing, but I'm just saying, or that they would do it necessarily. I just think if they could choose, if they had their way, it would be their preference to know in advance how much they're going to earn on ticket sales and when people are going to show up. That's just ideal. That's perfect for a business of this type. They would want this, not necessarily that they would do this. There's still that idea we guests like to have of just being able to show up to Disneyland. And that's the question. Would Disney suppress that idea, that notion? But, as I reflect on that, I really don't think that that is a reality that Disney would ever fully get into. Being able to go to the park on a whim, spontaneously, like I said, that's a real thing. And as much as Disneyland would want to skip that, I don't think that they can or would. In the end, as I mentioned, while I think it's certainly possible that Damara was speaking specifically about the reservation system and that it could be here to stay, while it's possible, I really do believe that he was just talking about the technologies as a whole, that they've the things that they've done in recent times to create less contact, let's say. I think that he's just talking about that in general. And this is something they could easily move away from. It's not set in stone, even if that is what he meant. It's not set in stone. And if the reservation system were to stay semi-permanently, it's very possible that it could be exclusive to Disney World or annual pass holders. Something else that I've noticed, I'll add this at the end, is that Disney has had no problem with operating each park separately from the others. There are different policies, different standards for each park that you don't necessarily have to apply to the others. Magic bands, My Magic Plus at Disney World. There's nothing like that at Disneyland. And that's because Disneyland operates differently than Walt Disney World, a different kind of guest. So My Magic or the My Magic Plus or Magic Bands, while they work terrifically at Walt Disney World, and by the way, that's almost like a reservation system in some ways. They work terrifically at Walt Disney World because of the client. They don't work, or they haven't been installed yet at Disneyland because of the different ways they operate. Same thing for Shanghai. They've handled fast passes differently there. They've handled annual passes differently there. They sell fast passes at Shanghai. Same thing at Disneyland Paris. We were very confused, Liz and I, when we went to Disneyland Paris, because we saw an option to buy fast passes, and we decided not to do that. We didn't realize that those were separate from the regular fast passes you can get on the ground in the park, and that was just a completely foreign concept to us. So this statement, or the idea of the reservation system being here to stay, could definitely just apply to a single park or not all parks. Still, though, it's a thing to talk about. It's a thing to think about, to ruminate on. I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? Are you in favor of a reservation system? I would imagine that there are guests out there who like that idea. I really do. I think that there would be especially people coming from out of town. The people who would object to it mostly are folks like me who live around the corner from the park and just want to go whenever we want. But we don't necessarily represent the majority. So let me know what you guys think. Leave us a comment below, and also take a minute while you're there to subscribe to our channel and to turn on notifications. And if it's not too much trouble, go ahead and subscribe to our Royal Dorks channel. That's mine and Liz's personal vlog that we do aside from this. We do all kinds of non-Disney related vlogging type stuff. It's pretty fun. You guys will enjoy it. And finally, if you enjoy our shows and would like to show your support, you can join our Patreon campaign. That's patreon.com/freshbaked. There are links for all this in the description below and on our main channel page. And that's it. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. And until then, fresh baked. We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Fresh baked!